And I suppose we best actually talk about the game itself. I mean, there was almost I don't know if it was a concern, but when Spurs went 1-0 up, like, are we going to limp to this? How are we going to go? But we were brilliant yesterday overall, weren't we?
Yeah, it's absolutely classic though, isn't it? To concede the first goal. Like, that is Liverpool in a nutshell. I wish I put a bet on it. There's no way that we're just going to sail through there yesterday without any little element of jeopardy being thrown in. So that was just brilliant that they did that, just to make you think for a second. Wow, the balloon might be popped here. This, it might not go to plan. Because I remember, by the way, when I get to the match and anyone I saw in the build up to the game, I'm like, no one's really countenance that Liverpool could lose this game, and I didn't think they would by any stretch of the imagination. I didn't think Tottenham were capable of getting a result, but things happen in football. It is possible that they might not win. It was there as an outcome that was possible, even though it was a small possibility. And so, yeah, no one really thought about it up until I think the point that Solanke heads that goal in, and then it's kind of, oh, hang on a minute. But thankfully, no one on the pitch, and I don't think anyone in the stands panicked. I think everyone knew there was plenty of time to sort it out. The atmosphere was still right up there, and also thankfully they scored within 4 minutes to kind of get it level. So that was that made things a lot easier. But maybe actually even made it a little bit better that Tottenham get the goal, because I think it's kind of just that little reminder, even if it was just for 4 minutes, that there is an element of jeopardy here, and it makes when you win even better to be reminded of that, and also to be reminded of how good the teams are in the Premier League. They can score against you. It is hard to win this league. So even that was probably, I guess, a nice aspect of it. But of course, they roared back to be 3-1 up at half time, and at that point you knew the game and the title was sealed. So even that aspect of it, I guess, couldn't have gone better. And for all the talk that this is a team that's limping over the line as well, quite funny that they've absolutely smashed Spurs to bits there to clinch it. So really, really good performance.
Yeah, I mean, literally smashed into bits. 5-1. It could have been 7 or 8. There were times we were almost trying to walk the ball in or give people goals, or just strange decision making at times as well. But the great thing about yesterday was, you said we came roaring back. All the goals were brilliant in different ways. Did you have a favourite or a pick from that catalogue yesterday?
It's quite tough, really. They're all really good goals, aren't they? Really well worked. And I think McAllister's I really liked, because it's the 2-1 goal, and I actually didn't think he was going to smash it in on his left foot from there. I just thought, it's a surprise when it hits the back of the net. It's a really, truly brilliant goal. And of course, once you go from 1-0 to 2-1 in such a short space of time, the atmosphere was just built incredibly, and that was possibly the biggest let off of the lot, really. So that was massive. But I don't want to do down any of the goals, because they were all, the Diaz one is brilliantly worked. Gakpo does so well to get that one out of his feet and pop it in the corner. Salah is extremely satisfying, the way he just cuts in and hammers that bottom corner, and then the way he celebrates that goal as well. So just loads to like about all of them. But I thought the McAllister let-off was possibly the most special of them all.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of most special of them all, that Alexis McAllister has been sensational for us this season. He's our best midfield player. He's clearly going to be in the team of the year. But even with all that said, I just felt like yesterday he was almost at another level at times to everyone on the field. He was just doing everything in terms of winning the ball back, creating stuff. He was just another level yesterday, wasn't he?
Yeah, he is another level, isn't he? He's absolutely. He's almost kind of. I almost want to say he's kind of underrated. I don't know. I feel like there's a discussion around him on social media, or kind of some Liverpool fans don't appreciate how good he is. But a big game like that comes around. I don't want to do him down by saying, oh, he turned up in that big game. He always does that, because he's just brilliant, full stop, really. It isn't just in big games. He's just a phenomenal footballer, and he's Liverpool's best midfielder. He's kind of the beating heart of this team, really, in the middle of it, because he's so good at everything. I mean, the way he puts that goal away on his left foot just shows you, the quality he's got. I think he takes a few shots yesterday, creates chances. I think he wins the most duels, wins the most tackles.
Yeah.
He's a complete midfielder, isn't he, really? The only thing you would say about him that he maybe lacks is obviously a bit of pace and physicality, but he makes up for that because he's a genius. He's got, that first yard is in his head. He makes up with it for his lack of strength and size with his ferocity and getting stuck in. He's just absolutely world class, I think. And yeah, like I said, I almost think he's a little bit underrated, to be honest. And I thought that performance yesterday, he was dominant, wasn't he? He was man of the match, I would say. So a brilliant performance, and he capped off. And it was great he got that goal because I think Van Dijk and Salah rightly get the plaudits and have been kind of seen as the icons of the season, but perhaps potentially because of their contract situations as well. But sure. McAllister, I put him right up there in terms of the level of importance, and particularly because he's right in the middle of this team, and he's the one who makes it all work. So what a footballer, in Liverpool. So lucky to have him, and so glad to have him. And they got him for 35 million, by the way. What a joke that is.
Is it almost, if people can't equate it now, when you look at the team and you look at the spine, you always think we've got a chance as long as it's our favourites. Alisson's in nets, Van Dijk's at centre-back, Salah's in the attacking line. You're almost now bringing, as long as McAllister's there, you'd be terrified if he wasn't on the pitch for a big game, wouldn't you?
Exactly. That's it. I mean, the strength of that spine, I mean, just reeling off the names, and this isn't just reeling off the names of famous players, it's reeling off the names of players who are unbelievably consistent in terms of the world-class level of performance they give you. And I think McAllister is part of that group. He's also part of that group in terms of being a leader as well, and showing what he's all about. So, he is a leader in that team, and he's well-liked in the dressing room. And really respected in terms of his level of importance. If people on the outside don't see it, people at Liverpool know just how good he is. So he is, without doubt, part of that group and a really crucial cog in this Liverpool machine.
Yeah. And speaking of part of that group, Mo Salah yesterday, you knew he was going to get on the score sheet. You just knew it was going to happen. Everyone fancied it. And the way he just, as you said, cuts in, they know what's going to happen, Spurs, but like more inevitable than Thanos, isn't it? As he just buries that shot in the bottom corner. We all knew it was coming.
Yeah. I wanted him to get a goal as well. I think, to kind of cap this big moment in this season, that his ridiculous season that he's had with a goal, he really deserved it. He's been on a little bit of a mini drought, hasn't he, in terms of open play goals as well. Yeah. So nice to see that come to an end. And he's just phenomenal. I mean, the way, the way he cuts inside yesterday, as you say, it's kind of, it's coming, but there's not a lot you can do about it. But the power with which he arrows that into the bottom corner, no keeper's saving that. So, and for him to get his big moment in front of the Kop end, absolutely magic. Love the way he celebrated it as well. Couldn't believe he didn't take his shirt off. I bet a few had Salah to get booked as a bet, and would have thought when the ball hit the back of the net that they were quids in. I honestly cannot believe he didn't take his shirt off, but obviously he had something slightly different planned, and he wanted to get that selfie with the crowd, and what a picture that is. Absolutely iconic, and just another brilliant moment in a day that was packed with them.
Yeah, just brilliant. And I was going to ask you, because you may know this, and if you have been asking us, and I generally don't know the answer, a lot of the younger, I say, ball boys, helpers were there, and you saw at full time the adults were, the squad were bouncing with them. Is that the youth team people were asking, that people, they're sort of bringing them into that as well? Because they were obviously, you can see some of them in the photo as well, but were they part of it?
Yeah, so they always use, it is usually always academy lads who will be the ball boys at the matches. So I'd expect that those kids they're obviously really young, so we don't know names or anything like that about them, or kind of they're on the lower ages in terms of that. But yeah, another kind of magic moment, really. Those kids looked like they were absolutely loving it. The players were grabbing them, and fantastic, really, that they got that moment as well. And just shows you kind of, again, the togetherness of the club, and it just kind of fed into that kind of narrative, didn't it? And absolutely magic, really. And I think the ball boys were absolutely loving it, weren't they?
Yeah, they had a great what a time to be a teenager and in that squad. And we're talking about players, we're talking about the front line a little bit. Three of the scorers, Salah, Diaz, Gakpo. Has that almost yesterday punctuated that for the season, those three have been the best three forwards at any one time in any position on the pitch?
Yeah, I think it's telling that he's kind of in this part of the season now. He's kind of turned back to that and realised that's his most reliable front three,
Yeah.
even though it's got imperfections. We don't think Diaz is perfect through the middle, do we? You know, there's the issue with that. And so the balance isn't exactly perfect in terms of exactly where you want it to be. But it's the best Liverpool have got at the moment. And I'm not doing Diaz down there, by the way. His intelligence, his work rate. He's been part of some sensational performances in that centre forward role. And again, he was yesterday. He was so important. But yeah, it has been consistently, hasn't it, through the season? I think it emerged kind of November, December time as being the best, really, once Gakpo really hit some form and he forced his way into the team. And then you realised centre forward Nunes, Jota's not been their season, so you needed an alternative option, and the ideal was to kind of move Diaz into there, and it really worked. And again, what a great example, actually, of kind of Arne Slot thinking on the fly. We haven't seen Diaz in that central role. I mean, the season prior, we hadn't seen Gakpo on that left wing very often either. Right. So, these are tweaks that kind of, they seem obvious because they've worked so well this season. And yet, these things weren't happening last season. Same with Gravenberch and his position. So, credit to the manager and credit to those players. But as you say, that really has been the front three for this season. And when you think back to this season, that'll be the front three that you remember, really. And they've done a fantastic job, as they did yesterday, but throughout the season, and they fully deserve that moment to get their goals and to get the win that got them over the line.
Yeah, they were all brilliant yesterday. Even that one where Gakpo does the overhead kick that just goes wide. That was like he's back, because he's been struggling a bit from injury, but he was back with that moment yesterday.